Good morning, everyone. Greetings from Department of Computer Applications, Francis Xavier Engineering College. I welcome you all for this live webinar session by Mr. D. Stanley, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Applications, Francis Xavier Engineering College. To seek God's blessing, let's start this session with a word of prayer. Now, I request Mrs. S. Jasmine Mary, Assistant Professor of MCA Department, to lead us on prayer.
Almighty God, we thank you for the new day you have given us. Bless the resource person and the participants to be filled with your divine knowledge and wisdom throughout this webinar session. In Jesus' most precious name we pray, Amen.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I request Mrs. D. Angeline Renjithamani, HOD of MCA Department, to welcome the gathering.
A very good morning to one and all present here. It's a great privilege for me to propose the welcome address. First of all, I would like to thank our Almighty God for this program. I thank our management, SCAT group of institutions, and Professor Planning and Development, Principal of Francis Xavier Engineering College for their continuous support, motivation, and guidance for this live webinar. I welcome our eminent and smart resource person, Mr. D. Stanley, Assistant Professor of MCA Department, Francis Xavier Engineering College, for his valuable knowledge sharing. I extend my hearty welcome to the participants from various colleges, industries, and also from RFX Engineering College. Once again, I welcome you all for this webinar, Role of IoT in Smart World, organized by the Department of Computer Applications, Francis Xavier Engineering College. I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Mrs. C. Mahadevi, Assistant Professor of MCA Department, to introduce our eminent resource person.
Good morning, everyone. It is a great privilege for me to introduce the determined resource person, Mr. D. Stanley, Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Application, Francis Xavier Engineering College, who is a renowned person for his simple and hardworking. He has completed his UG degree in St. John's College, Palayamkottai in the year of 2003 and PG degree in the MS University, Tirunelveli in the year of 2008 and MTech in the same university in the year of 2013. He has been in the teaching profession since 2009. He has published many articles in journals and conferences. He has been assigned as placement coordinator, skill training coordinator, and alumni coordinator. It is a great thing to have such an eminent resource person. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now over to the resource person.
So thank you, madam. So hi to everyone. So I thank the management and the department for giving me this wonderful opportunity to conduct a webinar on the topic of role of IT in the smart world. Hope you all are fine and safe in your home by the grace of God. So stay home and stay safe. Fine. So first of all, I want to give a small introduction regarding my topic, that is regarding this role of IT in the smart world. So why I selected this topic to present in front of you. So see, there are two major reasons. Number one is that this is my research area where I'm going to find some of the solutions through IoT. And the next one is that IoT is a common platform that encompasses many more technologies. It may be a blockchain, it may be anything. So IoT is a generic technology that encompasses all various technologies. It is a common technology. It is a common technology to everything. So that's why I selected this common technology to share among you, to share in front of you, so that you may also have a very good idea behind this. Fine. Now let's go to my PPT. Okay, fine. So this is my topic, that the role of IoT in the smart world. See, I want to divide this topic into two parts. So one is IoT and the other one is smart world. So first of all, we should know that what do you mean by a smart world. So before that, I want you to know the agenda of this webinar. So this is my agenda, why and what is IoT. Then we are going to discuss the various elements of IoT ecosystem. Then I want to give you a small and brief introduction regarding the sensors and the artificial intelligence. Then I want to clear some of the myths that you have in the IoT technology which is being used in the industry, that is known as IIoT. Then I want to refresh you with some of the innovative ideas that can be used in the application development and also in the research. And then finally, I want to give some of the glimpses how this COVID-19 period have an impact on IoT. So these are the important agenda that we are going to see in my webinar. Okay, fine. So now I want you to know that what do you mean by a smart world. See, we may have come across the many terms, that smart devices, smart city, so smartphones, that smart ventilator, smart coffee maker. See, in all the appliances, the word smart has been coined. So now we want to know what do you mean by smart. You may have so many definitions in your mind. Smart may be intelligent, or smart may be something doing innovative, something like that. Fine. So here I am going to illustrate you with a small scenario. Then afterwards you'll be able to understand the meaning of the word smart. So here, now when you look this slide, so this is the first scenario. Here a boy and a father are discussing among each other. So they are preparing to go for a marriage. So before going for a marriage, the father advises his son to be disciplined and not to play in the arena and not to argue with somebody. So after they went for a marriage functions, this boy just implicates all the things that his father told him. This is scenario one. That means the boy was disciplined, he was not playing, and he was not arguing with his father. Now, coming back to the second scenario, now his father and his son are going for a temple. And again, his father is advising his son to be disciplined in the temple and not to play and not to argue. See, these are the two scenarios. These are the two scenarios that I am keeping in front of you. Now, in these two scenarios, the father is advising to the boy prior to the location, which means prior to the location. That means before they go to the marriage function or a temple. So these are the two scenarios. Now, here comes the third scenario. Now the father and his son are in the school or in the college or in any institution. Suddenly, there was a call from the principal. There was an unexpected call from the principal that both of you should meet the principal. So what happened? Immediately, they both of the father and the son, the both of us went to meet the principal. Now, this situation was really unexpected situation. They didn't know that the principal will call them. So they have not a pre-planning. Now here, in the third scenario, the father didn't advise his son to be quiet, to be disciplined, and to not to argue. Then how this son will be able to implement all these things? Now fine. Now the son enters the principal's room. Now the son is able to implement the previous two scenarios. That is when they went for the marriage function and then they went for a temple. So by his thought, the son will be able to apply the previous two scenarios by his own. So this is a scenario I think you will be able to understand this small story or illustration what do you mean by smart. Now in the principal's room, the son becomes a smart boy. That is, the son has the ability to acquire and apply knowledge and the skills. Also, he has the ability to think and understand quickly in difficult situations. Now, when the father and the son enters this room, the son will be able to think and understand that he should also implement the above both scenarios in this case also. So the son has become smart in this case. So this is known as smart. Without the advice of his father, the son will be able to apply those previous two scenarios. Now I think you will be able to understand the meaning of the word smart. See, so many people may say that the smart is also equal to intelligent. There are so many implications are there, but I don't want to go there. So these are all the smart thinking of a small boy. In the same way, in day-to-day life, when we are using so many appliances, for example, we are using the smartphones. Here, the mobile phones plays a major role. They are also called as smartphones. Why they are called as smartphones? They are also acting smart the same way, which means the ability to act quickly depending upon the situation. So here, how the phones, why the phones are known as the smartphones? Because they are used for browsing and they are used for the road navigations. Everybody are aware of the GPS system. For example, if you want to go to any sort of location, we can track that location with the help of the GPS. And the next thing, the phones are known as the smartphones because each a single smartphone consists of many sort of applications. Many applications. Each and every application has a specific task. No? For example, there are separate applications to find the weather conditions, and there are separate applications to watch the movies. No? Which means the Amazon Prime, the Netflix, and the Sun Next. So many applications are there for watching movies. And if you want to order some food to your home, you can also order through Zomato and Swiggy and something like that. So each and every applications here are meant for separate tasks. So totally, a phone is known as a smartphone because each and every applications will do a specific task of its own. The same way, there are so many appliances or so many devices that we use today in our day-to-day life. We have smart fan, we have a smart indoor camera where we can watch our home from outside, and we have a smart thermostat, we have a smart meter, and all these things. We have smart plugins. See, all these things are known as smart. So when this world becomes smart means all these sort of appliances and the phones will incorporate together to form a smart world. So regarding smart world, I have a few more slides that I will tell you later. Okay, fine. Now, how this smart world is related to the IoT? Why everybody is speaking of IoT? So what is the main content? Why IoT has become a buzzword? So that I want to know you. See, if I ask the same question to you, you may have so many reasons. IoT is a very good technology. It is a booming technology, something like that. But here I have some of the reasons why IoT is booming nowadays. Fine. So the first reason is the availability of the internet at a cheaper and a faster rate. See, so when I was doing my undergraduation, there was internet, but we have to go for a browsing center and we have to pay rupees 20 to 30 for at least 1 hour. So it was very difficult for me to surf the net. But nowadays, see, we all are using smartphones, and really it is, and also we are using it at a very cheaper rate also. So thanks to the broadband technology for providing us a very good service. So because of that, the cheaper and the faster rate, the IoT trend has been increased in our day-to-day life. The next one is the cost of communication have been decreased very much because the smart devices, all the smart devices are coming with the Wi-Fi capability. So through the Wi-Fi capability, we are able to connect to the internet So all the devices are being connected with the internet without any source of medium. So we are using the wireless medium. So IoT has become a very good buzzword. And again, the availability of smartphones and the telecommunication products. All are having smartphones in our company. I think you may have gone through the terms such as average revenue per user, which is known as ARPU. So India is at the number second position, which is next to China. When we go through the revenue which is generated through the sales of the telecommunication products and the smartphones, this ARPU will be calculated on the basis of the average revenue, which is which is calculated per user based on his purchase of the telecommunication products. Okay, fine. So these are the major things why IoT is booming nowadays. Availability of the internet at a very cheaper rate, then the cost of connections have been decreased very low, and availability of the smartphones and the communication product. Fine. Then after IoT, we will be discussing about the IoT PNS, that is known as the Internet of People and Services. So then comes the Internet of Everything. When you go across any media or any newspaper channels, no, they will be, so you will be simply seeing the word like IOV, not IoT. Internet of Things means connecting all the devices with each other to the internet. Internet of Everything means we can connect everything that is surrounded you with the internet. Whether it may be a fan, it may be a car, it may be a chair, it may be a table, everything you can connect this internet. I often used to ask the question to my students in my classroom: how will you connect a particular device to an internet? How will you connect a particular device to an internet? So they may say many answers. They may say many answers. They may say like using sensors. Also, it is also a very good answer. So they may say some sort of the answers like Wi-Fi is also very good. But I used to ask a question to everybody: how will you connect a small thing? For example, this is a pen or a pencil. How will you connect this to internet? How it is possible to connect this pen to an internet? So this is known as Internet of Everything. When you just connect all the things to the internet, it is known as Internet of Everything. So who is the father of this Internet of Everything or this Internet of Things? So I think you will be aware of the father of the computers, who is known as Charles Babbage. And if you ask who is the father of the modern computers, you will be telling like Alan Turing. So thanks to Alan Turing, because all the machines who are invented nowadays are based on the model of the Turing machines. So who is the father of Internet, father of Internet of Things? He is Kevin Ashton of Auto IT Lab, MIT. So how he invented IoT? You just go and Google on in your system. You will be able to find the answer. How he'll be able to invent the IoT. Okay, fine. Now coming to my point, how will you connect this pen? How will you connect this pen or pencil to an internet? See, I'm having this pen or a pencil where I am having an RFID tag, I'm having an RFID tag, and I have inserted some sort of employee ID or a student ID in this RFID tag. Now, what I'm doing is I'm reading this RFID tag with the help of an RFID sensor. When this RFID sensor reads the tag, you should know that this RFID reader is Wi-Fi enabled. So this RFID reader reads the RFID tag and it simply connects to the access point. There I am using the laptop which is directly connected to the access point, and then I will be able to access the employee ID which is present inside this particular RFID tag. So I think now we'll be able to understand how you can connect a single object or all the things around you with the help of the internet. You can connect anything. That is known as Internet of Everything. That is known as Internet of Everything. So you may have come across the terms such as the ubiquitous computing. So what do you mean by ubiquitous computing? You can connect anything from anywhere and any place. That is known as ubiquitous computing. It is similar to the Internet of Everything. Fine. So this is the diagram where you can see a major difference between the Internet of Things and the Internet of Everything. See, in the Internet of Things, we can connect the physical things, the physical devices with the help of the Internet. Here in the Internet of Everything, we can connect the physical devices with the data, processes, and the people. So from this diagram, you will be able to know how IoT differs from this IoE, that is the Internet of Everything. Fine. Now you will be able to understand what is IoT and what is IoE. Fine. Here, so when I explain this example, you should know there are three different capabilities for a device to connect to the internet. One is the sensing capability, another one is the communication capability, and the next one is the computing capability. So once again, I am repeating, these are the three major capabilities that is needed for a device to connect to the internet. One is the sensing capability, and the other one is the communication capability, and the final one is the computing capability. We can give an example of a smartphone also. See, the smartphone will be able to sense all the data, all the things, because lots of sensors are present in the smartphone, and it is able to communicate with the other device with the help of Wi-Fi, Zigbee, and Bluetooth, something like that. And also it has the capability of storing and computing purpose. So these are the important things that you should know before knowing what you mean by IoT. Fine. Now, everybody is in a dilemma. Everybody is in a dilemma that what do you mean by an IoT? So somebody says IoT is a technology. Somebody says IoT is a platform. Somebody says IoT is a software or a package. Somebody says IoT is a communication protocol. Okay, fine. This slide, you may have, you are seeing a large elephant, a big elephant, and 6 blind men are surrounding this big elephant. No, since they are blind, so everything depends upon their own perspective. See, the man who is sitting at the top of the elephant sees the elephant as a fan. Another person sees it as a spear. Another person sees it as a snake. So another person sees it as a tree. The last one sees the elephant as a rope, because all are blind. See, in the same way, we are looking at the Internet of Things by our own perspective. We are thinking that IoT is a software, IoT is a package, IoT is a platform, IoT is a communication protocol, something like that, but not like that. IoT is a combination of all these data. IoT is a combination of all these data to form a system, to form a unique system. We can also put it in this way: it is a convergence of data into a system. So this is known as IoT. IoT is not independent language, or it is not an independent technology. It can be dependent with all the other major technologies that we are using nowadays. So what is IoT? See, you may have come across many definitions, but I will tell you one thing: there is no proper definition for IoT. Until now, there is no unique definition for IoT. Everybody will give the definition based upon their own perspective and the use cases. So here I am giving you some of the examples. See, the European Commission, they have defined IoT such as from a network of interconnected computers to a network of interconnected objects. Then, of course, Kevin Ashton from the Auto IT Lab defined the IoT as the basic idea of the IoT is that virtually every physical thing becomes a computer that is connected to the internet. And then comes the Cisco system. Really, they are the network giant in the world. So they defined IoT based upon their own perspective. So IoT is simply the point in time when more things or objects were connected to the internet than the people. Then TCS is the first company to put a good definition for IoT: a worldwide network of interconnected objects uniquely addressable by standard communication protocol. See, here we can come to a conclusion that nobody is defining IoT as a unique, and nobody is able to give a unique definition for the IoT. So here you should be able to know that each and every company will define IoT by their own perspective. by their own requirement, by their own use cases. So that is but at the end of the session, you could also have your own definition of IoT. Fine. In my point of view, I have got this definition which is quite satisfactory to me. Internet of Things technology can use sensors, electronics, or software that is connected to the internet, and it can be utilized remotely and exchange the data. So it consists of a sensor that I will show in an architecture diagram to you. So it can be connected, can use sensors or electronics or software that can be remotely accessed by any sort of devices. How it can work? It can work. The Internet of Things can work by the manipulation of scripts, application, and user interfaces. For example, there is a smart thermostat. If that thermostat is connected to the internet, you can control that particular thermostat or that particular device remotely by your smartphone. Such things is known as IoT. So I have already told you that it was invented by Kevin Ashton, who was the co-founder of the MIT Auto IT Lab. He has also given up a very good definition for IoT that I have already told you. Fine. See now, so this is the architecture of the IoT ecosystem. This is the architecture of the IoT ecosystem. So here we are having the 5 important components of this ecosystem. Here we are having the 5 important components of the ecosystem. The number 1 component is the things or devices that we are using in our day-to-day life, whether it may be a sensor or any devices. Define here. Just maximize the slide. I think it will be very good for you. Fine. So this is the major 5 components which are used in the IoT. The sensors, the things or device, the sensors can be used here. The sensors simply catches the information. It may be a light, or it may be a light sensor, or a pressure sensor, or anything. It may be a heat sensor, or a temperature sensor, or a gas sensor. The sensor will simply captures all the required data, and in turn it will transfer it to the gateway. The gateway may be maybe any gateway that you can incorporate. It may be an Arduino, or it may be a Raspberry Pi. All these things. See, the gateway in turn to process the data which is sent from the sensor, and it passes to the cloud and the storage for the further process. And the data from the cloud will be again retrieved by this analytics, where further processing will be done, and finally it will be given to the user interface, and the user interface will access the data with the help of the handheld devices or any sort of devices that he has. So these are the 5 important major components of IoT. So now we are going to see one by one. The first thing is the smart devices. See, I think everybody are aware of these 5 major components. So I am not going to waste more time in this slide. The smart devices can be any appliances, any devices, and sensors. See, we are going to see the different types of sensors in the upcoming slide. So devices and sensors are the components of the device, or the components of the device connectivity layer. The smart sensors are continuously collecting data. See, these sensors have originated before IoT came. That I want to tell you. Okay, somebody is thinking after the invention of the IoT, these sensors are invented, but not like that. The sensors were present before the introduction of the IoT. So how the devices are connected? These devices are connected with the help of some of the tools or some of the things like that. You can use Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or Zigbee or LoRa. See, these all are the protocols which are used to connect the devices among them. Okay, but the most popular protocol which are using nowadays is the LoRaWAN protocol. Because of its high bandwidth, we all are using the LoRaWAN protocol. So developments in the low power, low cost wireless transmitting devices are promising in the arena of IoT due to its long battery and efficiency. So these are all the first stage of the IoT ecosystem where you can use the smart devices and the sensors. Number one. Now coming to the second component is the gateway. See, the gateway is an environment where the data from the sensors are captured, and again it is transmitted to the cloud for storage and for the further process. So here you can use the Arduino and the Raspberry Pi or anything you can use, the Node MCU, anything you can use. This is now the gateway manages the bi-directional data traffic between the different networks and the protocol. Another important function of the gateway is to translate different protocols and to make the interoperation of the devices. It can be configured to perform the pre-processing of the data from large number of sensors. The next component is the cloud, where we already know that it is very much needed for IoT, because without cloud IoT is not possible. For each and everything IoT is needed, and the cloud is needed. So here the cloud has the functions of collecting, processing, managing, and store huge amount of data. Industries and services can easily access this data remotely and make some sort of critical decisions whenever it is needed. Then the time is running out, and just moving the slide. Then analytics is the process. Then the fourth component we come across is the analytics. This is the process of converting an analog data from billions of smart devices and the sensors that we use. Here you see the data from the cloud can be retrieved from the analytics. And suppose if you want to make some of the calculations in it regarding big data or something like that, you can use this component. This component is very helpful, and this component is also used to segregate the sensitive data from the original data. So such sort of retrieval activities and the filtering capabilities can be done only with the help of this component. Finally, all things are completed. This purified data will be sent to the user interface, which is nothing but the last stage of the ecosystem, where the user will be able to access the data, his desired data, that is sent by the sensors in the first component through the help of the smartphones or any other devices. Fine. So these are the 5 important components you should know. Once again, I'm repeating. The first component is anything or any device or sensors. The next component is the gateway, then the cloud, then analytics, and finally the user interface. Now coming to the sensors. See here the sensor play a very major role in this IoT. Without sensors, nothing could be done. So now we are going to, I'm going to give you a small introduction regarding this sensor. So what is a sensor? A sensor is something, it's a device that detects and responds to some type of input from the physical environment. It may be a temperature sensor, it may be a light sensor, or a heat sensor. So anything it can sense, and the data will be given to the internet. So the sensors output variable information, and if they are connected to a network. I will give a small example to you. Suppose in a smart city, a person is driving his car at about 80 km per hour. 80 km per hour. Suppose there is a rule. Suppose there is a rule that that the speed of the car should not exceed 70 km per hour, but that the person is exceeding the speed and running the car at nearly 100 or 120 km per hour. So what is happening in such smart cities is the smart sensors will be plugged in the roads. So what will happen? The sensor will sense the car and automatically stores the information. And after a month, you will be receiving a challan that all that did, and that, so simply you will be receiving a challan that you were having a case for the rash car driving from the office sometimes after. So these are the major things that we have to concentrate. The sensor. So these devices are able to capture the current scenario with the help of the electronic or embedded software which is embedded around them. See, all the sensors are present in the smartphones that we already know, because without sensors, a smartphone will not be able to work on its own. As I have already told you, sensors are there for a long time before IoT was originated. So if you have any sort of misunderstanding regarding the sensor, you will be able to know. Fine. So there are so many sensors. So I want to list out some of the important sensors in front of you. There are temperature sensors, humidity sensors, pressure sensors, proximity sensors, level sensors. See, the level sensors, you may have come across the level sensors. For example, if you are filling your tank with water, you'll be able to sense the level of the tank, whether the water will overflow or not. In such cases, you can use such types of level sensors and accelerometers, then gyroscope. See, those who are interested in playing games will be aware of these accelerometers and the gyroscope. You'll be having the gas sensors, infrared sensors, RFID tags, and optical sensors. See, in the figure, this is the temperature sensor, the number one. This is the temperature sensor, and where this the head of the sensor will be dipped in the water, and you will be able to know the temperature of the particular water. So this is the humidity sensor, and this is known as the position sensor, where we will be able to know the position of a particular objects. And this is the IR sensor, infrared sensor. Probably it is a passive infrared sensor. So you will be having the terms such as a PIR, motion sensor. And this is the proximity sensor. Here we'll be having two LEDs. So one will emit the signal and hit the object and receives the data based on the sensitivity of the data, we will be able to know how far the object is. So this is known as the proximity sensors. And of course, this is the gas sensors. So I have not come across all the sensors in my slide. These are all some of the important sensors that are presently used in the IoT. Fine. Now we are going to see how these IoT devices are connected with this sensor. Fine. See, so before the IoT was introduced, these sensors were connected to a microprocessor. It may be an 8086 microprocessor or 8082 microprocessor. See, they do not have the capability of connecting to the internet. They will be simply connecting with the local devices only. So they invented ESP826612 node MCU, which will be easier, to connect to the internet. So for this purpose only, this node MCU was invented. Now in this diagram, so this is the node MCU ESP12 device, which is Wi-Fi enabled. Now with the help of this Wi-Fi, this device will be able to connect with the internet. Okay, fine. Now this device, how it will work? So this will receive the data from the sensors. This will receive the data from the sensors. Since this is Wi-Fi enabled, it will be connected to the internet. Then we are having our Arduino code, which will be written in my laptop. And the laptop will be connected with this MCU through this cable. Now what will happen? I will be calling a PHP or MySQL script from my Arduino code, and the value of the sensor will be displayed on the browser. See, here in the place of the PHP or MySQL, I can use the third-party IFTTT code also. So this is a small scenario where you can make the devices and the sensors to connect with the internet. Here you can use any sort of any type of sensors that I have mentioned you in the previous slide. Okay, fine. So now you have known the basics of IoT and how it differs from IoE, and what are sensors, how the sensors are capable to connect to the devices. Fine. Now, since artificial intelligence is a very, very important term in IoT, I want to give you some of the small instances regarding this IoT. So I often used to ask the question to everybody. So that who is intelligent? That is humans or robots. Some people will say robots. Some will say humans. Of course, you may have come across a chess game where Gary Kasparov, he was a very good chess player. So a supercomputer lost to him. So you can say humans are very intelligent. So daily I used to ask the same questions to my students also. They may say that robots are very intelligent. Yes, I agree with you all. So regarding the computation, the robots are really very intelligent. But I will give a small instance to you. See, a few days before, when you use Orkut or a Facebook account, you will be entering your email ID and the password. Automatically, it will be entering your Loudon apps. So this is a major threat for the industry. So what they invented a CAPTCHA. Now they invented an image CAPTCHA, where, for example, there will be an elephant and it will be a flipped one. So if you are a human, you will be able to bring that elephant in a normal position. But whether the robots can do the same thing, really, the robots can't do the same thing. Really, it will be a nightmare for the robots. So according to my perspective, both humans and robots both are intelligent. Fine. What is human intelligence? See, we have to instruct the machine to do something. We have to write a code or write a script, or we have to instruct it to do a specific task. The machine cannot do automatically. Everything we have to instruct. So in the robotics, we have to give some code for the robot to work, no? The same way. But how human work? The human works by birth. The human brain improves in our day-to-day life from birth onwards. So our human brain, they will learn from experience. They will be able to adapt the new situations and understand the abstract concepts and use knowledge to manipulate one's environment. So this human brain, how we can incorporate this human brain to a machine. So that is known as artificial intelligence. You already know that our brain consists of billions of nerve cells that will coordinate some sort of emotion, behavior, and all these things. These nerves will connect the brain, so whenever it is needed. So artificial intelligence is a term where all the human intelligence can be implicated, can be applied to a human being. See, this is how people define intelligence: the ability to solve the problems, the ability to recognize the problems, and the ability to learn. All these things should be incorporated to the machine. So here is a very basic definition for artificial intelligence: a system's ability to correctly interpret external data, to learn from such data, and to use those learnings to achieve specific goals and tasks through flexible adaptation. So in order to develop an artificial intelligent software, we have to come across these sort of properties. So here I am going to define some 5 important properties that should be implemented in a software, which will be used for the implementation of artificial intelligence. See, the natural language processing, that is known as the NLP. See, with the help of this NLP, the machines will be able to understand and read the language of the human beings. Then we can come across the perception, the ability to input some sensors and create perception after analyzing. For example, speech recognition. So for example, somebody is speaking and you should be able to know the language in which he is speaking, and the language in turn will be able to decode and convert into the original form, that is known as speech recognition. Then the facial recognition. See, there is a robot, and the robot should not be able to communicate to others. It will only communicate with you. In such cases, you can use such sort of facial recognition and object recognition. See, all these things can be achieved with the help of the sensors. All these things can be achieved with the help of the sensor. So these types of activity that can be incorporated from a human being to a machine, that is known as perception. Then the motion and the manipulation that I have already told you, it is used in the robotics. Then the learning, how a small baby learns from birth by a means of watching, by means of smelling, all these things. So the same way, learning is also a very important criteria in artificial intelligence. Next, the final one is the social intelligence. What do you mean by social intelligence? Suppose if you type your email in the Gmail, if you start a single letter, if you type S, all the other email ID that you have begin with S will be displayed. So that is known as social intelligence. Suppose if you want to type suppose if you want to type anything in the Google, if you type good morning, after typing the word good, when you type M, all the other things, all the suggestions will be displayed before you. So such things are known as the social intelligence. So these are the various primary criteria that could be incorporated in the machines in order to make the machine well equipped in terms of this IoT. So we have come across the sensors and the artificial intelligence. Okay, fine. So we have, I think we have covered the first three topics. I think we have covered. We have covered why and what is IoT. We have seen the various elements of IoT system, and we have covered what are sensors and some of the basic concepts from artificial intelligence. Now, how this IoT can be used in industry. I want to clarify you with the term which is known as IIoT. That is the industry IoT. That is the industry IoT. So many people may have many definitions regarding this IIoT. Now look at this diagram. I think so you will be reminded with these types of diagram often. No? This is a Venn diagram. And here we are having this IIoT, that is the industrial IoT, inside the IoT. Inside the IoT circle, there is the IIoT circle. So we can say that in such a way that IIoT is a subset of IoT. IIoT is a subset of IoT. But this is not enough. I can put IIoT in some other way. It is a system that connects and integrates industrial control systems or automation systems with enterprise business process and analytics system. Fine. It is a system that connects and integrates industrial control systems with the enterprise business processes. See, this is a definition that we can use, but this is not holistic. This is only partial. So to have a holistic approach for our IIoT, we can put IIoT, we can define IIoT in some another way. That is the use of IoT technologies in manufacturing or production. See, major industries are having the future of manufacturing many products. So by applying all the IoT technologies with their legacy system, they will be able to manufacture the products that they want. So this is a holistic definition. This is a holistic definition for IIoT. Once again, I am repeating, IIoT is the use of IoT technologies for manufacturing and production. Fine. Now what is IIoT? See, what is IoT? Here, see, this is a figure in which all the major technologies are present. There is a blockchain, there is cyber security, there is data analytics, there is virtualization, there is deep learning, there is hybrid cloud, and all these things are here. Even there is also biometric identity. All these things are here. Now here, what is IoT? See, IIoT. So IIoT, you should know that IIoT is a technical driver who can drive all these technologies within a single unit. once again, I am telling you, IIoT is a technical driver who can combine all these technologies and drive it in a single unit. So here's a question for you. Which solution has the potential to encompass all these technologies? All these technologies means these technologies which you are viewing in this slide. All these technologies can be encompassed by IIoT, but based on the requirements and the use cases what they needed. So I think now you will be able to have a clear-cut idea that what do you mean by IIoT. So the IIoT can incorporate all these technologies in a single unit in order to achieve a particular objective. Fine. Here are some of the important terms I want you to come across. You may have come across all these terms. Industry 4.0, smart factory, then digitalization, IT-OT integration, digital twin, cyber physical system, and 360-degree PLM. All these things are here. Now I want you to know whether these are equal to IIoT or these are entirely different. See, some people will be asking like that, whether industry 4.0 or IIoT is equal or not. They are not equal. You have to understand in a very clear-cut manner, these all are the technologies, these all are the technologies, and if we want to achieve these technologies, we have to use IIoT, which will be a technical driver. Are you able to understand? So which means in order to achieve this industry 4.0, we can use IIoT as a technical driver. So here IIoT is a technical driver which is used to achieve all the following, which means industry 4.0 or a smart factory or anything, or even a digital twin also. Now I think you will be able to understand all these things. So these are all some of the, I am just running out of time. So I want to go through my slides in a very quick manner. These are all the challenges we are facing day-to-day life in the IoT developments, the compatibility and the interoperability of different systems, the identification and authentication of technologies, integration of the products, handling unstructured data. Yeah, really, absolutely. You are having a lot of data in the internet, and if you want to find something data, really you will take at least a single minute to find it. So the data are such unstructured. Then connectivity. See, I'm just giving you this webinar for nearly 40 to 45 minutes now. There is no loss of internet connection. But if that connectivity is lost, it would be a major challenge in the IoT development. So data security and the privacy issue. Then intelligent analytics. See, what do you mean by intelligent analytics? Suppose in a factory you are having 10 systems, and one system is not functioning properly. You should not go to the system by system and go on checking whether it is working properly or not. There would be some sort of there should be some sort of system who should be able to tell you that this particular machine is not working. So that is known as intelligent analytics. Then the delivering value and the cost of components. These are some of the important challenges in the IoT developments that we are facing in our day-to-day life. Fine. The industry, see here how the industry are building their projects based upon this criteria that you are having the vendor risk, you are having the transition risk, you are having the network constraints. See, these are all the important criteria and these are all the important barriers where the industry will come after. But the major barrier for them, for each and every industry, is the security issue. Since each and every industry will develop their own product based upon their own software and based upon their own requirement, it will not be reflected in the other things. I think you will be able to know if you purchase a software, only the exe file will be given to you. All the other codings, all the other scripts of the company will be with them only. You will be getting only the exe file, and then when you click that exe file, you will be playing that game or something, opening that file. So security issue is having a major threat for the industry. So all the industry, their main focus will be on the security. Here I am having a small architecture. These are the different layers of IoT and also IIoT. At the lower level, we are having the sensors, then IoT devices, gateway, and the storage. Fine. See, why I am just showing this architecture to you means, here the security should be implemented in each and every stage while you develop a product. So when an industry develops a product, security should be able to, what we can say is, security should be implemented not only for the sensors but also for the gateway and the data storage, for everything. So the security will be a major threat and the major criteria for the industries to look upon. This is another slide where I will come you after sometimes. These are all the two different types of IoT world market, which was segmented by the industries. One is the consumer facing, another one is the business facing. So majority of the projects will be done from the smart home. You look, smart home projects are at the top of the popularity. So by this figure, we can come to a conclusion that smart home appliances are increasing day by day, and major projects are being developed under that particular criteria. Fine. Now I want to go through some of the important slides. Some of the how this IoT is connected with the internet. See here, this IoT is having three types of paradigms. One is the human to human, human to machine, and the machine to machine. I will just give you a small instance regarding this. Regarding the first paradigm. So what is a paradigm? It is a way to communicate. That's all. Okay. Regarding the first paradigm, that is known as human to human. These, for example, there is a plant factory and a plant operator is there, and consider he is having a motor operator or a motor measurement operator or a motor machine. See, the temperature in that particular motor, which is viewed by the plant operator, will be viewed only in terms of a mere value. But if the temperature goes on increasing after some time, there will be a person in that plant who is known as the maintenance engineer. He will be aware of that, and he will be able to communicate with the plant operator that the temperature is going on increasing continuously, and he will instruct the plant operator to shut down the plant in order to prevent themselves from the future casualties. He will be communicating with the plant operator. So this is a small example for human to human communication. Then coming back to the human to machine communication, where a human being can communicate with the machine. For example, we can say that the machine will send you some sort of alert messages where they will be able to, we will be able to aware of some sort of situation. Then we can come across the machine to machine, where one machine will be able to send data to the other machine. Fine. So here we can say that industry IoT is also a type of cyber physical system. I will just give you a small example. Here in the cyber physical system, we can have two types of world, that is known as a physical world and a virtual world. In industry IoT, we are using this convergence of physical world into a virtual world. This blue color is known as the physical world, and this orange color is known as the virtual world. See, so what will happen here? In the virtual world, we are having devices like computer microprocessor and the graphics, artificial intelligence, something like that. So here, when we attach a system to a physical device, it will become a deeply embedded system. It will become a deeply embedded system that we will know as simple or intelligent DS. Once again, I am repeating. If we attach a system to another device, it will be it is known as DES. Suppose the same infrastructure, if we increase the physical distance, then we will get a network system. Then we will get a network system which is known as the cooperative intelligent DES. Then a furthermore increase in the distance will lead to the cyber physical system. This is known as cyber physical system, where internet will be introduced. Now this is known as system of system. So in this cyber physical system, the internet is introduced. So see, now from a single system we are getting the network system, and then we will be able to obtain the cyber physical system. Now CPS of CPS, we will be connecting all the CPS. Then finally we will be getting the smart cities and planets, which is nothing but it is a virtual world. So here, how a physical world can be converged into a virtual world. Here we have to note a point. As the physical distance goes on increasing, the system complexity will be also increasing, and the latency will also be increasing. So this is the physical. I think you will not having clarity in this slide. Okay, fine. Here, this is the physical world and all these things. After converging, we will be getting this cyber world, which is nothing but the virtual world. Here we are using the cyber twins. These cyber twins are also known as the digital twin. The digital twins are nothing but the exact replica of the system that we used in the physical world. So here we can term the IIoT. Here we can term the IIoT as a cyber physical system, but it is also another name for IIoT. Fine. Now we are going to see some of the differences between IoT and IIoT. Based on the utilities, it is mainly designed for the customers. Here we are using for IIoT use for the industries, and the security is not a major threat for IoT, but here in IIoT the security is a major threat, because each and every organization will want to protect their own software and products. The degree of application is very low risk impact, and here it is very sensitive. And here IoT is very less expensive when compared to IIoT. Fine. Now this is the figure that I have taken you before some time. Here the IoT world market is divided into two, which is known as consumer facing and the business facing. But here again, based upon the requirement and the use cases, we can also divide this business facing section into the enterprise IoT and the industrial IoT. So the enterprise IoT can comprise of the shops and the stores, that is the retail area, and all the other industrial IoT can comprise of the manufacturing products. In the same way, here the example of social IoT, we can take it as a home. And also the consumer facing, we can have an example of the connected cars, where each and every car consists of a number of microcontrollers. No? Nearly 300 to 400 microcontrollers are present in a device that is known as a car, which is even if it's found in a very small dimension. So here the car can act as a consumer. So based upon the requirements and the use cases, we can able to segment all these business facing and all these consumer facing products. Fine. So here I'm running out of time, so I want to discuss some of the main IT and OT convergence and integration. So here this is known as OT world, and the right side is known as the IT world. The OT world comprises of that is the operational technology world, comprises of all the hardware devices, and the IT world, I think you'll be aware of the pre-internet. Then after the internet of invention, then the internet of content, then services, then internet of people, where you'll be using the social media, and now comes the internet of things. So these all are known as the information technology world. In some other perspective, we can say that operational technology world and the information technology one can be combined to form this sort of IIoT. Fine. This is a small and three-tier IIoT architecture, where you can see the three different types of these layers, which is known as the first layer is known as the edge layer, where you are having the sensors and the devices, and it is connected to the gateway. And the second layer is the platform layer, where all the data are consolidated and it is processed in an orderly way, and it also receives the process, and also it forwards the control command to the next layer, which is nothing but the enterprise layer. The enterprise layer receives the data, and also it generates the control commands. Fine. This is a three-tier architecture, so which is not yet standardized by everyone, but according to some sort of perspective, we can have this kind of architecture for our research also. Here I want you to know two types of implementation in the industry, that is the brownfield industry, the brownfield implementation and the greenfield implementation. In brownfield, already the industry will be having a legacy system and we have to add some data in it. So that is known as brownfield implementation. Greenfield implementation is everything we have to begin from the scratch. So in the industries, nearly 95% of the industries are implementing this sort of brownfield implementation, and also they are implementing the same this sort of 3-tier architecture. Fine. So now I think you are having a very good understanding regarding the industry of internet. So I will be completing the next few slides in my next webinar regarding this IIoT, or finally I will give my email ID and you can send your queries. Now, coming back, how this IoT can be used in our research and all these things and all this application development. Before that, I want you to just imagine the world of internet before and now. You will be able to see three major differences. In the earlier stages, we will be using the wired communication, the wired internet, but now we are using the wireless medium. So the medium of communication plays a major role in the protocols. We have changed the protocols, and now the handheld devices are replaced. The legacy devices are replaced by the handheld devices. So these are the three major differences between the future and between the current and the past internet. Now coming to the use cases, I want so before going to the use cases, I want to play a small video for you. Just watch it, and I will just handle the use case session based upon that particular video. Fine. So I think everybody would have enjoyed that video. So now I think based on that particular video, I'll be able to share some of the use cases with you. See, if you want to go for a research, if you want to go for a research in IoT, you should have only two types of use cases. One is the indoor use cases, and other one is the outdoor use case. Indoor use case means the smart home, where you can use all the indoor appliances inside your home. And the outdoor use case is the smart city, where you have to go outside and all the notifications will be able to receive from your mobile. Here we are having the three major components, that is the smartphone and the sensors, that is the WSN and all these RFID technologies. See, all these things are getting, we will be getting in a very cheaper rate. See, the smartphones we will be getting for nearly 3,000 to 3,500 rupees only. We will be getting a smartphone. And the sensors, some few days before, a sensor which cost rupees 30 is sold for rupees 1 today. So hats off to the semiconductor industry and all the VLSI industry. So again, I am explaining, you should have only two cases. Either you have to select indoor use case or you have to select the outdoor use case. So types of communication in research you can use as, suppose there are 4 types of communication: user to user, user to device, device to device, and device to user. When coming to the device to device, each and every device should trust other device. When coming to the user to device, they should authenticate. The device should allow the authenticated person to use the credentials. The same way you can make use of the access control also. See, any area that which you are interested, you can have your own research based on the trust, based on the access control, and based on the authentication. The next important thing is the context and addressing. Here from the video, you may have seen that the mother getting intimation in the mall that there is a low stock of eggs, how it has occurred. So that is known as context and addressing. So the context means the location where the mother is standing. So this can also be one of your research area. And in anything you want to know that the IoT doesn't go alone, it needs some of the use cases to extend its futures and all these things. Now from the video, I want to explain some of the 2 use cases in front of you. One is the son, when the son or a boy, when closing the door of the refrigerator, he was just moving. While just moving outside the room, he is getting an intimation in the smartphone that the door has not been closed. Then he enters the room and then he closes the door. Now this is a small use case. How it occurs? See, I will explain you with a small example. Now you see, this is the what we can say, the body of the refrigerator, and this is the door. This is the door. When the door closes, when the door touches the body of the refrigerator, the sensor will produce the value of 1. The door is open, the value will be 1 itself. But after some time, if the door is open, the sensor generates the value of 0. The sensor generates the value of 0, which will be captured by the nearest access point. It will be captured by the nearest access point, and it will, in turn, it will be given to the particular gateway where a business logic will be written, and it will be generating the 802.15.4 protocol. It will be activated, and all these things and the message will be transmitted to the nearby devices. So this is the first case that you will be able to understand. You can also have a small research. Then the second case is the mother in the mall. See, when the mother opens the fridge in the home, you will be see a video, in the video that all the things are recorded. All the things are provoked and stored. When the mother reaches the mall, what is happening here? The context aware services come to the role. It identifies the location of the mother, and it will be able to identify that the mother is in the mall, and automatically the message is going to the mother's mobile that there is a low stock of eggs in the refrigerator. So these are the 2 different cases you can learn from this particular video, and also you can make a research of it. Since time is running out, I'm just rushing all through the slides. So this is the indoor thing where we can use all the smart alliances within our home. Here, all the systems which are using indoor are intelligent. No human intervention is there. Suppose if you want to convert a human intervention into a machine language, that is known as artificial intelligence. Here all things are present inside a particular home. Then this is the outdoor, where we can use smart street lights or smart parking or smart buildings. You can develop any use case from these sort of things. Smart health or water quality or public safety. Here all the notifications will be received in your smartphone when you are outside your home. So this is a criteria. So this is a pictorial representation for the indoor games. Fine. Now I am going to show you a different model. This is not my model. This model I have taken from a small article from one of the well-reputed professor, that is known as 10C model. Here we are having the 10C. This model will be used for you while you develop an application in IoT. So take a note of it. The first model will be the category. Category means whether you are going to select an indoor or an outdoor category. And the next one is the component. And the next one is the cost, the total cost, which is quoted by the client. Then the connectivity. Then after the connectivity between the devices, you will go for the communication. I will just put the slide. Just wait for a while. I will just completing all this. Fine. After after the devices have been communicated, they will be going for. After the device will be connected, they will going for the communication. There comes the internet. Then the cooperation. Then the convergence. Then content, context, and the complexity. Again, I am repeating all the 10 C's: the category, component, cost, connectivity, communication, cooperation, convergence, content, the context, and the complexity. Now here I have drawn a diagram. Here this is, I have already told you that is not a standard architecture for IoT. You have to go for your own architecture regarding this IoT. Here I am having these 3 layers. The lower layers, there will be devices, and the layer 2, there will be the network communication protocols or the network access, where we can use the 3G, 4G, and Wi-Fi, Zigbee, all these things. Then the third layer, you are comprising of the cloud and the internet, where the communication takes place and all the data will be stored. Here, now you are going to connect these 10 C's with these 3 layers. See, I will be connecting all these 10 C's with these 3 layers. Now see, the category will go to the layer 1, the component will go to the layer 1, the cost will go to the layer 1, and the connectivity will go to the layer 2, the communication will go to the layer 2, cooperation will go to the layer 2, then the convergence, it comes to the internet, it will go to the layer 3, then the content will go to the layer 3, then the context will go to the layer 3. Finally, the complexity will apply for all the layers, because each and every layer will be having their own complexity. So all these things, all the complexity will be going for all the 3 different layers. See, when you come to the research area, suppose if you want to work in analytics and big data, you have to go for this layer 3. And if you want to work on the protocols and all these connectivity, you have to go for the layer 2. And if you want to go for the devices and encryption and some of these embedded things, you have to go for layer 1. And suppose if you want to build an application, you have to use all the 3 layers. But because a single application is a single product, no, you have to use all the 3 layers before, because missing one layer will not generate a product. So this is that 10C model. Now I will just, here you can use your research area in communication, processing, identification, localization, and in the storage. But in all of these things, you have to use security as the major concept. As I have already told you that all the industries are much involved in the security issues. So you can make security in all the things, in all the 5 pillars as your research area. Now coming to this figure, I have just shifted the first figure, layer figure, horizontally, where you are having the devices and assets here, and you are having the communication protocol, communication things. This is known as the local connectivity. This is the devices are sent to the gateway, and again this gateway is able to expose all the data to the internet with the help of the protocol. Either you can use the MQTT protocol, or you can use the COAP protocol. So this is the remote connectivity, and through this you can by using this sort of some sort of devices, you'll be able to access the data from the cloud. So here you'll be able to know so which current trends you will be using in your research. There will be many current trends regarding the wireless technologies, Zigbee, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Again, I am telling that based on your requirements and the use case, you have to select your own wireless technologies and what sort of protocols that you are going to use in order to expose the data from the gateway to the cloud. Whether you are going to use the MQTT or you are going to use the COAP, and what sort of platform you are going to use. Whether you are going to use there are so many platforms out there: Microsoft, Google, Amazon, then IBM. So things are used. Then regarding the analytics, lots of big data tools are there: Hadoop, MongoDB, then Splunk, so Google Chart. So that's what I'm telling, that based on your requirements and your and your use case, and based upon your own perspective, you'll be able to select your own criteria. Fine. So these are some of the important slides that I have shown you for your research and to develop to build an application in IoT. Now I am coming to the final point of my webinar: how this COVID-19 period has an impact on the IoT. See, there is a decreased internet in the consumer IoT service. See, all the consumers are not coming out of the home, and they are sitting in the home and using the applications. So here is a Sensex, that there is an app known as Philips Hue, where it ranks. It ranks at the number 351. So it appears as though they do not go out and buy personal devices. So the devices are not bought at a large scale. The second one is the remote access. We are using the major tools like Zoom, Google Meet, GoToMeeting in our day-to-day life. So it is also a very good signal for the IoT, that by the usage of such kinds of tools. I don't have time to explain in depth. So here digital twins can also play a major role. Here IoT developed drones are used. You may have seen the television, in the daily media. The drones are just spraying the medicines for the COVID-19 in hospitals or in the streets. So for medical deliveries, they are being used for surveillance and the monitoring, for broadcasting the messages and spreading the areas. And as I have already told you, for spraying the medicines, the drones have been used. Specific IoT health applications are developing in our day-to-day life. In many hospitals, some sort of telehealth applications are used, where a doctor will be able to speak to the patient via the video conferencing. See, there is a digital diagnosis. There is a thermometer which was invented, which is known as a KINSA, which has a spike in the usage regarding this pandemic spread of this COVID-19. So we can also track and trace solutions are there. Suppose if a ship is coming, and you will be able to track the ship from many more miles away. So here is a website known as the vesseltracker.com. The owner of that website will be able to infer all these things, that the local lockdowns have caused major disruptions, and all these things are in favor of them, because they will be able to track all the things, all the updates. See, the Korea, you know that South Korea, which is also affected by this the COVID-19, but they have handled that pandemic is in a very smart manner. So they have used the smart city data hub to allow all the reports regarding the pandemic and all the data. Some sort of IoT retrofit solutions are there, such something like the digital meter also there, in which some sort of meter will be fixed with the legacy systems, and they will be able to install it. So some major enterprise technologies are booming nowadays. Then the lot of cyber attacks are happening now and then. So this is a major threat. And also you can use some sort of security issue as your research work from this cyber security networking. See, email phishing. Most of the threat is from the email security, from the phishing. See, the increased in the malware and the ransomware attacks. So these are all some of the important COVID-19 on IoT. So important criteria of the impact of COVID-19. hope you have enjoyed this webinar. If you have any sort of queries, you can just mail to my mail ID and my mobile number. I'm just sharing this for you. So it was a very good session for me. I get a lot of experience from you. Again, I thank my my college and my department for giving me a very good opportunity.
Thank you, Stanley sir, for your wonderful speech. Hope this session will be very useful for the participants. Kindly post the queries in the comment box and fill the feedback form given in the comment box. Now, I request Mr. A. Arul Amalraj, Assistant Professor of MCA Department, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. As the Bible says, "Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for his love will never end." I thank the Almighty God for this program. I thank our management, SCAD group of institutions, higher officials of Francis Xavier Engineering College for their continuous support, motivation, and guidance for this webinar. I would like to extend a special thanks to the resource person of the event, Mr. D. Stanley, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Applications, Francis Xavier Engineering College, for giving a wonderful webinar session. I thank the head of the Department of Computer Applications, Mrs. D. Angeline Rajamani, and colleagues of Francis Xavier Engineering College for their continuous support. Thank you all.